All right, and we're live. Welcome everyone to Social Infrastructure, podcast about the Galaxy Simulator known as EVE Online, brought to you by the State Feral Alliance, bringing you the 3 C's of EVE: community, content, and killing. We will be covering new updates on the State Feral Alliance at the end of every episode. You can follow the podcast on Discord at Social Infrastructure Podcasts. Watch live right here on Twitch, obviously. Or you can check us out on YouTube now, and hopefully this week you will actually be able to listen to us where podcasts are found. On the podcast, we like to talk to small to medium-sized corporations and alliance directors about how they got started in EVE, where they are currently, and then in future episodes we'll check back in with them. My name is Titus Kyle, CEO of Social Infrastructure. Guest host today is Rots. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, I'm Rots Mineworker. I'm filling in for the real Eilish today. I'm the CEO of Out of the Blue.
Yeah, and today with us we have Broodin, who is CEO of Karma Fleet University. Kind of like EVE Uni, but just a little bit different. How you doing today?
As we talked about, zero prep work, zero preparation, so I'm winging it as best as possible. Not technically a CEO, just the dean, but It is what it is.
Yeah, we all like we all have titles in the game.
Indeed.
I mean, you're kind of the man with the plan, though. Kind of heard
that is a terrifying accusation. I will have you know. I am absolutely terrified and horrified for everyone's sake when it comes to me and a plan.
Yeah, maybe more accurately, you're the cat herder.
Okay, that I will admit to. I love cats. So.
Well, why don't you give us like a little brief history on how you got started in EVE and how you got to become the dean of Karma Fleet University?
I started off in EVE, running freight and high sec, not knowing a daggum person. I switched over from World of Warcraft in 2015. Was in a very small corporation, about 15 to 20 members for the first 2.5, 3 years that I was playing the game. That tanked after our fifth attempt at joining an alliance crashed and burned. So I said, to heck with it. I'm bored, so I kind of flipped a coin and ended up applying to Karma Fleet. And about a year and change after joining Karma Fleet, they came up with this. I'd always enjoyed working with new players. I worked as a member of the outreach team, which is under Karma Fleet's Human Relations Department. And after a certain amount of time, I have no idea the actual time, they decided, hey, we're going to start up a educational style corporation. And I just took it and kind of I ran with the concept, and I loved it, and I enjoyed what I was doing. I love working with new players. I love working with people. That's what drives me, is helping people in this world, whether it's in game, in real life, doesn't matter. It's what drives me. So eventually I was sitting on Saturday Night Swarm, which is Karma Fleet's real social fleet of the week, and Merkel Chan completely dimes me out, throws me under the bus, and says, oh, by the way, you're the dean of the university. And I'm like, what? Huh? And since, it's just been one freaking fantastic day after another. I love logging in. I love seeing all the new faces. It's fantastic to be able to engage the community in a positive manner. So that's kind of the short and dirty of where I've been and what I've done.
Yeah. And I think I was watching a Meta Show episode when that you were on, if I do recall. Had a Hawaiian shirt on, very stylish. And yeah,
I would have grabbed one. I would have grabbed one tonight, but they're all dirty still. I wore them through the week, and I wasn't going to throw on a dirty shirt, so I threw my sweater on instead.
Good,
cats,
good.
Hawaiian shirts, he's dripping in swag.
Yeah.
If I lay out my shirts, my cats will lay on all of them and cover them in cat fur. And it's like, as much as cat fur is a fashion accessory, I really don't. It's not a good look for me. I don't.
There's only so much love you can be covered in without being socially acceptable, of course.
Yeah,
exactly.
But on that episode, just listen to you talk about how the new people coming into the game. I mean, people are constantly going out, but we have that's definitely our problem with the game is player retention. And talking about how kind of giving those people some place to go and learn their first steps and kind of a safe and fun environment. And I've went with you guys a little bit, been part of your group, tried to help out here and there. Super flaky, just never worked. I remember talking to you, I was like, hey, all right, man, I think it's slowing down like Thursdays, like tell me what you want me to do. And I think I made it like 2 Thursdays in a row, and then it was just one railroad thing after another, and I was just like, oh man, I'm the person I hate. I'm just being super flaky. But no, it was always great. Everyone was super eager to learn. You guys got it really cool. I kind of stole some of how you guys do things with like your free frigates, and when I started my own corporation to just kind of encourage people to get out there and actually play the game and get over that fear of losing. We're not used, everyone's usually kind of used to respawning back in.
At this point, KFU is a proven concept, and any attempt to tear off anything and revamp it somewhere else, I'm intensely proud of. So thank you. Thank you for that, because if you're doing it somewhere else and it's successful there as well, it just proves that what we're doing is the right thing and it's helping out people around the game, and that is always the goal.
Yeah, and it's another thing that's cool, is how well structured you guys are. And typically, if players in this game want to find that, they have to go to nullsec, and where you have the time commitments and fleet requirements, and you guys are still offering that great structure and internal assets that you guys can offer people. And still they log in when they can or they want to. Maybe it's once a week or every other. It's great. So quick little before we kind of jump into the next question. So, Karma Fleet University, what is your affiliation though with like Goon Swarm Federation, that kind of stuff itself?
My affiliation or the organization?
The organizations.
The organization, we are a completely autonomous member of Karma Fleet's umbrella. We operate completely independent of the Imperium. We don't share standings. We don't share activities. We don't share... Sometimes they'll invite us out to share a fleet once in a while. Some of our guys from Karma Fleet will sit there and go, hey, you know what? We want to go and hang out with the new guys. Show them what we do. Show them how to fly stuff at a little bit higher tier than they're used to. So they'll come down and run fleets for us. And like this past Saturday, some of the Karma Fleet guys came down and ran... a version of Saturday Night Swarm during EU time zone and invited Karma Fleet University to come along for the ride. Other than that, our affiliation is very split. We have a lot of the same ethics. Our core beliefs are don't be a dick to each other and be kind to the people you meet. Try and take care of those around you. We take how Goon Swarm treats each other and we bring it to the high sec community. And other than that, that's pretty much where the connections lie. I'm personally a member of Karma Fleet and I'm a very proud Bumblebee myself, but there's a lot of people within our umbrella who have no intention of ever going to nullsec, and we are loving and accepting of them just like anyone else.
Yep, and that's what I seen too. I just want kind of for you to say it to everyone yourself, but yeah, even though you guys share the name, you kind of do your own thing, but just kind of get the best of both worlds on that one.
Most definitely. It's nice to have, Merc has always made himself available if I have questions on, hey, how would you handle this situation? What should I do over here? And, he's always expressed the utmost confidence, but he's always there if I have a question on how to actually administrate something. Him and the HR team have been completely invaluable, but a lot of it comes down to advice, and we've kind of taken the proven model that Karma Fleet has, and we've just adapted it to HighSec. And you can't do that with any other situation than what we've got going. So we take the best of both worlds, we run them together as best as possible, and it seems to be working. We have not crashed and burned in the last 2 years, and we continue to grow. We continue to have high activity numbers, and we keep pulling people into the game and keeping them in the game, because it just is what it is.
Yeah, and you guys growing crazy fast. It's cool to see. It's obviously, like you said, proof of concept. You got the people showing up, so obviously something's working.
Yeah, I find nowadays with the reality isn't, people can look at this one way or another. New bro groups or any kind of academy or anything for players in this game, no matter who, people assume it's affiliated or what have you. Like I looked at Karma Fleet, I'm like, oh, it might be Goons or affiliated, or at least affiliated with Karma Fleet. But Karma University being, again, something that someone can come and learn in the game, I'm a huge advocate for. And there's a lot of people that, probably are feeling the same way. There's a lot of alliances doing that nowadays, which is kind of the reason to have the podcast. There's so many you can say, what are you doing, and what is your model? And some might be better than others. I have one approach. I think you guys are doing phenomenal. Just the growth is awesome, and it's just seeing people retained means something's working, and that's huge.
Well, and the thing is, the biggest selling point to joining KFU is we have absolutely zero pressure to go anywhere else. There's plenty of people who join KFU and go to enemy alliances of Goons Forum, and it's like, hey, that's a success story. There's plenty of people who join and go to Karma Fleet. Hey, that's a success story. There's plenty of people who join. You're still playing the game.
Yep.
You're still a member of our community. You're still out there in space. You're still engaged with the people around you. That is a blazing success story. I don't care where you end up or if you ever leave. It doesn't matter. We just want to see you happy, you successful in the EVE environment. And because of that mantra, that is what has been driving our success and is actually pushing a lot of positivity out into the community as a greater existence.
Absolutely.
So I suppose on that same vein, what are you guys looking for people wanting to join or joining corporations? I don't know if that's really a thing you guys do. How do they get a hold of you? How do they get involved? What's your day-to-day content like for them?
Day-to-day content? Pop on our Discord, check out, we have a bot on our coordination channel called Sesh, and we usually have 2 to 3 activities a day, usually a class and a couple fleets. We have a core of FCs, volunteers from all around the game who come down and play with us, and all of our fleets, I will caveat this, we are not tryhards. We go out and we help enormously because we're trying to take every engagement. It's not a go out, kill a bunch of stuff, reship, go out. It's a, hey, we go out, we take a couple of jumps, we talk about, hey, here's how you increase your speed. Is your overview right? Make sure all the ducks are in a row. We don't leave anybody in the dust. It's not how we operate. So our fleets are usually slow paced. They're easy to get onto. They're easy to learn, and they kind of scale up from there. But we do our absolute and utmost to not leave anybody behind. So if you're looking for hardcore, fast-paced action, you may find a good place here. You may not. But if you're new and you're not sure what you're doing and you're trying to learn and you're just doing the best you can in a casual environment, you'll fit right in. And by the time you get to crawl and walk and run, then you're off sprinting at full speed and you're in a different organization, or maybe one of our friendly ones, maybe one of our enemy ones. It doesn't matter. We want to teach you. We want to help you. We want to see you succeed. And as long as you're playing 6 months or a year from now, I consider you a friend and a success story.
Absolutely. I mean, what more can you really ask for?
I just don't want people showing up going, hey, what's your kill board look like? Because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
No fuck. Zero cares given about kill boards. I could care less. My question is, did you have fun? Did you learn something? If those 2 conditions are met, we're solid.
Yeah, and I've been in organizations where, there was an emphasis on the kill board. I mean, sometimes it's mean like we really couldn't undock to even try,
It gets in the way. You can't teach a player an EVE without accepting being patient. You can't.
No.
It's just not a thing.
And that's just, you don't learn. I mean,
that's why they got the meme. I remember when I was brand new, I saw the learning curve. It's the cliff. Crucifixion on top of the cliff, and everyone's getting hung on the EVE Online one.
If you wanna imagine us as part of that meme, we're the rope ladder that's coming down off of that cliff.
Yeah.
We're not going to do the work for you, but we'll certainly be there to steady your climb as you go up the slope.
Yep. You'll get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and even with our group, start off with a bunch of new guys, and I kind of forget myself. Sometimes I maybe get a little bit too sweaty. Getting out there trying to get some PvP kills, and taking the guys out, and one thing just kind of didn't go right or another, and like whole fleet kind of died, and I'm just like, shit, But all the guys are just mostly like fucking thrilled that we went out there and had a fight, and it kind of takes me back, a little bit of a step to like, oh yeah, like some of these guys have never even done this before. This is still going out and dying and just being in, a big fleet fight or something like that is new and exciting to them, and it kind of brings me back to when I was in those times myself. And I don't know, it makes the game a lot funner. And over the course of the last week, kind of going out there and just running against the wall, we've been doing all right now. I'm getting the guy a little bit of green on the kill board. Yeah, because a week ago, if we were all about kill board status, I probably would have just logged off and not came back, because it was getting pretty red there for a bit. But it's what it is.
Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares?
exactly.
You know what? If it looks like a Christmas tree, you're doing it right.
Yeah,
That's my mindset. As long as you're having fun and you can tell you're having some improvement and you're having a good time while doing it, who cares if you lose 10 ships in a row? Who really gives a shit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Honestly. Ships are ammunition. Get used to it. You'll have more fun that way.
Provide content. Content comes in every form. But it's if you stop it at the kill board, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've even heard some people say they wish there wasn't a kill board. I don't know if I'm at that point, but yeah, it has its pros and cons. That's something for sure.
It has its pros and cons. It's really cool when you've been a part of a massive fight to sit there and go, hey, I was there. I was a part of that. The M2 fight, the armor timer. Heck, I go back and every once in a while I'll link my Titan loss from that battle. And it's really fun to sit there and talk about losing that Titan, because it wasn't the enemy fleet of 400 capital ships that killed me in super caps. It was one malediction. One malediction killed me in that fight, because he had me scrammed and I couldn't jump to the Panic Sino in 1DQ.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would have been pop smoke gone. But I died that day because a newish player in a tiny, minuscule little interceptor had me tackled, pinned me down, while the rest of the enemy fleet primaried and killed me.
Oh,
It's a perfect demonstration of you don't have to be in a massive ship. You don't have to dump thousands of dollars. You don't have to have years worth of skills. If you practice and you put that practice into a major fight, you can be a hell of an impact regardless of what you're flying. It shows all the new players that, yes, you can be a part of something big, even if you're small. And it creates a massive amount of optimism as far as a new player goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of I make sure every fleet I take out, there's always a lot of these higher end fleets and stuff. They have these minimum skill requirements and what you can fly. But I mean, if all you can fly is a slasher, I'll take you every time as opposed to not. And like you said, just for those little situations like that, can't shoot him if he warps off.
We take our free frigates, which anyone with a day 2 in the game can sit in them. Day 1, if you're really paying attention, you get, because I always assume that day 1 you're going to forget how to set up your skill queue. So day 2 is where I kind of set my standard. But day 2 in the game, you can fit into our free frigates program, and we take them on every single fleet we fly. Because, again, you can't kill it if it warps away. So learning how to tackle, learning how to break tackle, everything in between is fantastic for new players to know and experience.
Yeah, for sure. And just even, that giving them that free frigate will give them a better understanding of how a ship should be fit and flown. Because I've seen a lot of, I was no better myself. I fitted first thing I had to do was get in Hyperion and run around high sec. And thankfully the person I decided to have a duel with didn't kill me and kind of showed me at the end of it. But yeah, it's...
I have several embarrassing losses on my kill board from when I was new. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I don't care about kill boards, but they're a fun novelty to look at and sit there and go, you know what? I started it here, and now I'm still there, but I'm trying a little harder. It's just...
Yeah, having the base skill requirements for a large Tech 2 armor repper does not mean you should fly a triple rep Hyperion. I figured that out. So
that.
What's your future plans? Where are you guys trying to go? Just continue on, or
continuing on? honestly, with the new player experience getting revamped, CCP's done a fantastic job of really focusing on some of the new player issues in the game. And at the end of the day, we want to see more players coming to EVE Online. We want to see more retention in EVE Online. And you know what? If we don't grow by a single person and it's just the same flow in, flow out, as long as those people are staying in the game and the concurrent player count continues to go back up as it has since the end of the war, then I'm perfectly happy. I'm happy seeing people happy, because if they're learning, if they're growing, if they're staying in the game, the concurrent player count's going up. It means we're succeeding somewhere, and that success is what I'm going for, not a specific goal or, oh well, we want to be a super. No, screw that. We want to be a positive influence, and that can't be measured with numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just moving right on down the list. Kind of already, went over what you're looking for people. Basically, anyone that wants to learn the game, in a fun atmosphere. You guys ever think about maybe forming an alliance or like having some kind of some side corporations that specialize in other things? Or you guys think you got it covered?
We pretty much do it all. I mean, the only things that we don't do is nullsec Savor, because we go out and obviously nullsec's where the PvP content's at. So we take day trips out through when the Eve Scout, please Eve Scout, we love you, please. We love you. We absolutely love Eve Scout Enclave for your Thera maps, your bookmark packs. You guys are fantastic.
Yes, they are.
We use that so consistently to travel out into different parts of space and engage targets. So we don't engage in SOV, which is the one reason I hate the idea of being in an alliance, because as long as you're in a corporation, you can't even be tempted to take part in shit like that. So it's fantastic, and that way nobody's trolling, toasting stuff. Good times, good things. So at the end of the day, the only things we don't do is Savor and scamming. Those are the two things that we are at. Everybody in the corporation, just like Karma Fleet Actual, is completely and totally forbidden from scamming. And I've booted 2 people, and I've only had to boot 2 people for the entire time that KFU's been operational, because they broke that rule and decided to try and make scam contracts in JITA. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want the Karma Fleet name to be drugged down, so scamming is illegal. But otherwise, don't be a dick. Have fun.
Yeah.
So, as far as future plans, we're continuing on course. We're right where we need to be. We pretty much cover all the bases as a single corporation. We have a lot of good things going for us, and I don't see any reason to change what ain't broke.
Yeah.
Where do you guys base most of your operations out of? Super curious.
Genesis. We're right in the middle of the game. We picked a solar system called Serren, Serren, and the reason we picked that is because it is the dead center of the entirety of HiSec. If you go from JITA, the Caldari, Galante, Mimitar starting systems, they're equidistant to that location. And if you go to the Amar starting location and you go through HiSec, of course, with Niarja falling, it kind of cut that off. But you can hop one hop through Lowsec, and it's all within 16 jumps of anywhere in HiSec. If you're a new player, if you're in any of the starting zones, you're no more than 16. I think, scratch that, 18, because there's one Amar system that's 18 jumps from us if you take that one trip through Lowsec. We picked right where we're at, so we're dead center in the map, easily accessible by any new player, and it's not too big of a pain in the neck if you're still getting used to the overview and how to maneuver your ship. We want them to get to us. We want to get our hands on them, help mold and shape them, and set them up for success. So that's where we're at, and we'll probably always be here.
Yeah, geographically, I guess I didn't. I've been there a few times. I guess I didn't really know that. That's awesome. How could you come up with a better spot, really?
Mm-hmm. That was the entire reason why we picked that location. It was a system that I was familiar with, and there's a lot of belts, there's a lot of everything, and we sat there and we looked at the map, and it's like, starting zones here, 15 jumps. Starting zone here, 14 jumps. Starting zone here, 18 jumps. And it's like, this makes fucking sense. If you're going to be friendly towards new players, then you need to be accessible to new players, not off in the fucking weeds. Sorry, I'm Army.
Oh,
It happens.
I'm the worst. I curse like a sailor.
I have
the
no reason for it. I
ask,
do it anyway.
The reason I ask is, that's always whenever I've seen some of the newer player groups, they center around Jita, and it doesn't. I remember when I first started, the breadth of being able to do all of high sec and be able to absorb the different regions, because that's kind of the appeal of Eve, is how big it is, and I feel like people just focus on Jita and they're like, this is where we're at, this is where we're going.
I hate
And
Jita.
I'm a huge fan of not going to Jita when I can. I mean, there's the merits to it. I'll do roaming with my group out of there, but it's plopped where you're at. It's great. This is a question I gotta ask, because this is I remember when I was a new player, and I remember the first ship I ever wanted to be in was a Hyperion. So what is the favorite ship you think you see the most that new players are like, I want to get into that? Because you got to think about, there's always that one that's like, whoa, this is a cool ship. I mean, what is the most common?
The one that we actually get them into and sell them on? Or just, because everybody has a favorite ship when they look.
A little bit of both.
It's so variable. A lot of people look, and I try and, I tell people, reach for the stars, but you're still walking in the dirt. So, figure it out. Figure out with the smaller ships. The aiming point that I try and point people towards is either the Caracal or something like if they're like logistics and they like flying stuff, the Scythe. The reason for that is it provides enough balance that you've got enough firepower that even a new player and bunch of new players together can make a significant impact on a fight. You're not, we fly destroyers often, but those are a little bit more, they're detail oriented. If you screw up, you're all dead.
Yep.
Caracals, you can mess up a couple of times and you've got tank to absorb it. They're very forgiving. They're very potent. So we fly a lot of Caracals, and in that we push people into gunnery skills. This is going to sound a little strange until I explain it. We push people towards gunnery, and then we push them towards the Caracal. And it sounds like you're splitting tracks, but you're really not. The reason is turrets make up, 4 of the 6 weapon systems in the game? So turret skills are fantastic. Family texting. Again, I didn't plan for anything. So if you hear little Irish limericks in the background, don't mind that. But the Caracal is a nice endpoint, and it feeds into the Jackdaw, the Kestrel. Light missiles are fantastic. Their applications are wide and varied. And then gunnery skills, when you talk into people who want to get into logistics, anything like that, or just general player environment stuff, you try and give people a little bit of taste of everything. So while you're teaching them to use turrets, you're also pushing them into drones. You give them a little flavor on each one. Then you push them into a missile boat, see how they like. And what that does is it gives them the choice of, hey, what do I enjoy flying? And we really push that concept that find something you enjoy and then find somebody who flies it. Because at the end of the day, if you hate the way that projectile turrets sound, and you hate the fact that, I'm going to be stuck in a Munin forever because that's the meta, then fly something like a Cerberus or a Caracal, and you can sit there and listen to the whoosh as the missile flies off and blows the hell out of somebody.
Just go have fun.
Find something you like, because this game is so big, it's so varied, there's so much content, and most of it doesn't get the surface scratched on it by new players because they don't know it's there. So at the end of the day, we fly Caracals very often, we fly destroyers very often, but at the end, and we fly frigates, of course, through our free frigates program. But when you boil it down to what are we actually teaching people to do, the answer is everything. Because we don't care, we want them to find something they like.
Yeah, I know that, our first doctrine, really the only one we're pushing people into right now is a Caracal. It's just a pie is good. It has long range. You can make them super cheap. And then, and I came up with, the one great thing that I think they added, pretty recently was how you could have the skill plans and kind of lay out one yourself and have an easy link. I think that's been a huge change that I know if that was a thing, it would have saved me a lot of time in the game off the get-go, what direction to go with. But Yeah, so yep, we use caracals. I agree with you 100%. We also go ospreys, which is a little more difficult though with cap chain, but no, the scythe is a great one.
That's why we use scythes. We want people to get used to the basic concept of, okay, here's how you anchor, and then once they get that concept down, if they like flying scythes, we introduce them to the concept of a logi anchor. We touch on that even with our how to fleet class, which is our basic, we're going to send you out with 5 other people. Here, take this class first. They get the concept of, and the idea in their head of, hey, there's a logi anchor somewhere in the process, and that's a completely different anchoring point. So with a scythe, you can kind of push them into logi slowly, and where they're effective and they feel like they're effective and they feel like they're contributing, so it's a more positive flow. And then eventually somewhere down the road you can touch on cap chaining, because heaven knows if you screw up a cap chain, you're dead.
Oh, yep.
Scythes are a lot more forgiving. They're a lot easier to learn on. It's kind of like you don't give someone a Maserati as their first car. You give them a Ford Focus. So it may not be as high performance, but it'll get them from point A to point B. And if they bump into a freaking light pole with it, you're not going to be sad, and neither will they.
Yeah, we may or may not have lost the scythe, rest in peace, due to some cap chain learning deals on a station. Yeah, one of the things I actually did was, because the cap chain is such it's a real interesting thing for people to get a concept. I actually made a little bantam, purely for training, a little bantam fit that I send the guys out and warp them all over grid, and we make our own little channel for one up, one down. It's just got 2 small cap reppers on it, which have a crazy short range that brings its own little problems. But yeah, it's a fun boat. Scythe is great though, and to get back, what is it about the Hyperion? I think I flew it.
On
power. Yeah,
it looks like a set. I can probably answer that one. It looks beautiful. It is a fantastic looking ship. If you read the bonuses, it reads like this is going to be a badass.
Yep.
Because it's not like armor resistance. It's like this Joker is going to rep itself like a monster. So when you look at the stats, you look at the ship, you look at what it fits, you look at a good fitting off Ezekiel or a forum, you're sitting there, you're like, this ship is a badass and I want to fly it. It is a great ship. It's just not great for brand new players.
No.
It is, I find myself, so, my story is I finally did get in one, and I quickly learned first or second outing with it. I was like, it doesn't have an application bonus. And this is back in the days also when you could, do solo work, maybe with an off-grid boost or something, and had a buddy who would just sit there with this tune and off-grid boost me and try it out, because I didn't have the skills. And I found very quickly I had to draw them in. And, I could rep like a son, but, couldn't.
If you can't break them.
You can't break them. And if they dropped something, reasonable on you, you were kind of dead anyway. Which is solo work, I took one out recently, even just, we were doing a roam out of G. The guys were like, hey, let's go fly what we want to do. And I fit up a shield Hyperion with rails and actually had a lot of fun with it. It's not at all how you use that ship, but, it was something different. It's EVE Online. It's a gorgeous model. As a scenery carpenter, as a guy who does art and does props and does paint and all these things for a living, it is the only EVE Online ship I've said, I'm going to take that to work and I'm going to build it. So I made one on my own. But
oh, that's awesome.
It's a hell of a ship. You just don't see them all that often.
No.
Which is a shame.
And it's the same thing with my favorite ship in the game. If I could only ever fly one ship for the remainder of the game, and mind you, I have Mastery 5 on almost every Titan in the game. My favorite ship, the Algos. I absolutely love it. You throw the Interbus skin on that thing, it is the sexiest ship in the game, at least in my opinion. I love it. It's so easy to fly. It's cheap. I could sit there and with what I've got in the bank right now, I could fly those from here till the servers melt, and I will be happy as a clam. I love the Algos. It is a beautiful hull. It performs fantastically. That's the one ship in the game. If you told me you have to put down one hull, I'd be like, yeah, take the Bellicose. No, you have to be one you like. I'd be like, anything but the Algos.
Yep.
I get you. Even though it may not be the best ship, it's my favorite
The
ship.
one I want, exactly.
Yeah, that was our bread and butter back in Faction Warfare tomorrow. It's funny you bring up the bellicose because I got this little fit I came up with a while back that it's like kind of a kitey bellicose fit, and people just don't respect it, and it doesn't work out good for them because she took down 2 assault frigates today, so it was super fun.
You fit a bellicose right, it's a monster. The problem is it's not really fast.
No.
So it lacks the speed of some other hulls of comparable capability, and it lacks the tank of it. So if you can get in close and somebody gets overconfident, yeah, you can smack the living shit out of them, and it's beautiful. But the bellicose, it's a ship in EVE Online. That's about all you can usually say for it from day to day.
Yeah.
I know a guy, he's out in, you find him in Vale, Karen, there might be some people I recognize the name, but he sits in ID and Vale, at least that's what his most recent grounds were. And he'd have a bellicose, and he'd sit that sucker on a drag bubble. And he'd catch things all day in that T1 bellicose.
Yep.
Just popping away. It's a slice and dice little ship, but again, it's every other ship need.
Yeah, the picture on it is okay. What I like about ships like the bellicose is you can fit them right; they're not bad, but everyone will try to fight you in one because they think, oh shit, it's just a bellicose. I got this. It's one of the best ships I've found to just fly around and get fights with all day.
Well, getting content in this game can sometimes be a challenge.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many people that have alts. Like, you look at some of the high-end PvPers, sometimes they'll go out on their own characters, but most of the time they're out on an alt, especially if they're streamers, because you're sitting there, you're like, okay, this person's coming in, they're going to kick my ass. So everybody docks up, or is very cautious and brings a fleet with them. If you go out and you see random person number 823 in a Hecate, Hecat, whatever you want to call it, I make sure to make fun of that name whenever it pops up. But you find somebody in a freaking Galante Tactical Destroyer, and okay, well, I can take that. I'm in one too. And you don't realize that it's some PvP wizard. Bellicose is the same way. It's a freaking sleeper.
Yeah. Oh, super fun. I think most of the questions, previous questions we've asked you have kind of answered, all the ones we'd be coming up with next. I guess kind of, learning what you have. What's some advice you could give to, someone, you teach new guys how to play the game of EVE. What can you teach a new guy trying to start his own corporation?
Oh my gosh. Make friends. Do some do research. Because honestly, the biggest danger to a new corporation, and I've been a part of new corporations, I've been a part of small corporations. There was one that I was a part of for 2.5 freaking years. The biggest danger is not knowing who you can trust.
Yeah.
And sharing responsibility eliminates the possibility of serious burnout. So you want to make sure and find people you can trust. If you're friends with them in real life, that's fantastic, or you've been friends for a long time. Find the people that are good at what they do that you can trust, and empower them to do what they do best. Because if you try and do it all yourself, you will burn out, you will end up quitting, and your corporation will tank while you're gone. So if you're trying to build a group and you're trying to start a community of your own, start small. Plan on staying small for a little while until you build some rapport with your members and build a sense of community yourself, and then don't be afraid to bring people into that community once you're confident. But the biggest problem that I've seen with new corporations and younger players is people try and grow too fast. That's always a danger because you just end up with bloat and you don't have enough stuff to keep everybody interested and engaged, so they wander off, and you end up with an entire corp full of... You may have 300 people in your corporation, but if only 5 of them are logging on because there's nothing happening, you've got a problem. Yep. So don't be in a big rush to grow too fast, but also be wary of stagnation. People are always going to quit the game. They're always going to balance out. There's always attrition. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. But plan on growing at a nice, slow, steady rate. The rate is variable, of course, based on what your corporation is and what you're trying to do, but find people you can trust. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you. Find people you can trust, empower them. If somebody loves doing logistics and transporting shit, put them in charge of that and support them 110%, because that takes responsibility off of you and it puts it in someone else's hands. And if they like it and they're enjoying it, then that's one less thing that you got to worry about. Don't try and shoulder everything yourself. It's a bad, terrible idea.
Yeah.
Got a lot of experience there myself. The current group we're doing, I've been very fortunate this time around. I've tried to, for all the people that are thinking about Corps and Alliances, I've done mine. It's been 4 different times now. And this time I said, you know what, guys, I don't want to do it, but if you're going to make me and you want me to, help you guys do this thing, you got to be a part of it. And there's some of the most, trustworthy players in my experience that have the same goals for the most part. And, I've known them 13, 14 years. I've gone to weddings, all that jazz. And that is huge. And you don't need to know someone for a length of time as much as you know them and you trust them. When you can trust someone and you do a thing, yeah, it's huge. And I can't tell you, the most demoralizing thing is when you have to lose that trust in someone because they've done something to your community. It's like you put up the Jenga tower and someone knocked it over. So it's not the funnest. I hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to do everything. I know exactly what you're talking about. Trying to do everything yourself. Take it all on your shoulders. Yeah, burns out. I mean, shit. That job in itself is a full-time job, let alone, keeping everything going in the real world. And it's not worth making that sacrifice, for Eve, the video game that it is. And I definitely have made too many real-world sacrifices for this game. Something I'm trying to get better about, but yeah.
It can be, they call it an Eve career for a reason, it can be a whole job in and of itself. Even the most recent lesson I've learned, and Broodin's a little bit ahead of the game, is, I started a community, a group in a group within my community that is a community safeguard. So, actually, the real Eilish, who I'm filling in for tonight, said, they're little pieces of rots. Because I'm very much erring on the side of, that cult personality role. Because if I burn out, I burn out, right? And if you're the guy that's the linchpin, that's where it all crumbles. You need to have a group that you trust to support your organization and support those that are in your community. And that's 90% of it. And then having a goal for where your steps towards whatever that goal is laid out, and it may take time. Broodin, you touched on that as slow, steady progress in whatever goal that is for a community is huge, absolutely huge.
Well, take this with a grain of salt, but the true test of any leader is how well an organization can function without them.
Yeah, 100%.
The reason I say that is the military, and every military in the world trains this way. What happens when the LT gets shot? What happens when platoon sergeant gets shot? Or whatever the hell happens. Convoy gets delayed. The mission continues. It doesn't matter. Find the right people, teach them, train them, empower them, make it so that they're comfortable in that position, so that when and if, more specifically when, you burn out or need a break or something in real life happens, you can take a step back. I mean, my real life was a train wreck for about last few months. I stepped back. A couple of my friggin' directors stepped in, ran stuff like champs, and the organization continues to function. I could not have been prouder. That's just it. It is what it is. You have to make sure that the organization, and you always look out for the individual. But again, you can't take care of the individual if you don't have an organization to do it with. So taking care of the organization's health comes ahead of, well, I want to do this. No. If I want to do something, I want to do it with someone else so that they know how to do it if I need to step away. So the true test of any leader in any organization, anywhere in the world, in all of humanity, if you pull them out for 6 months, will the organization exist when they get back? That's the key.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Yep. And then, yeah, another thing, to kind of take another step back from something you said earlier is like, yeah, people you can trust. I mean, it started, State Federal Alliance with, a very good real world friend. And if it would have been me on my own trying to do this again, yeah, I would have already probably been done by now. But yeah, 100%. I mean, you have to try to get to that point where you can take a step back and, come back to that community.
It's freaking nice because when, and I'll toot my own horn here, we've gotten to the point in KFU where I can step back and I can be a line member. I take an entire weeks off when I don't do anything but sit down in comms and just shoot the shit. I don't do any real work. And if somebody, says, hey, I can't make it to teach my class tomorrow, what do I do? It's like, hey, I'll cover for you. Too easy. I leave myself unencumbered so that I can patch in and make sure that things run smoothly. But if I absolutely had to, I could walk the hell away and KFU would continue to function appropriately. And that's the goal. That if you are setting yourself up for success in the long run and you're trying to be small group leadership, large group leadership, video game leadership, look for people that can replace you and trust them and empower them and teach them everything you know, because if you have to walk away, your pride and joy group that you've built, whether it's a guild, clan, corporation, alliance, coalition, if you can't walk away for a couple of weeks without everything collapsing, then you're not doing it right.
Yep, I agree.
So,
yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to take a week off, guys. So we'll see how you take care of yourselves.
Eilish has got it, clearly.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff.
No, it was right now Eilish is actually part of my community group. I'm going through the process of, hey, we've got our newer, we got out of the blue up, and we're expanding the community. We've had a lot of mergers of people looking to do the same stuff, and making it so that I can take a step away, which I've been able to do, very recently, and I've been like, wow, it's the first time I've been able to do that. It's a good feeling when you succeed in that, because then, not a lot of people know it, but when you go and start one of these communities in EVE, it is a job. There's, I've said it before, even on the podcast, you had interviewed me in the role of, where Broodin is right now is, the hardest thing CCP has done for players is not make it easier to do the community building. And, not a rag on CCP, it's part of it. It doesn't matter in real life, being the captain of a ship is pretty difficult, but you have an XO, right? And then maybe that XO has a few underlings. It needs to happen in the community. And so most recently, I've been able to go and sit and be a line member. It's been nice to just relax or do other things I want to focus on. Talk to your day-to-day new bro. Say, hey, what do you need? I'm here to help you. Best thing you can do is be present, and if you don't have the time to do that, I mean, what are you doing, right?
Yeah, I think that should be kind of a signal of, if you can't do that, I think that should be a signal to yourself of, where am I, and maybe I need to take a little step back.
Change has to happen. Yep.
I'm very proud because after Vegas, I spent a weekend freaking completely AFK. Didn't turn on my computer, didn't check Discord, nothing. Came back, everything was running smooth. A couple days after I came back from Vegas, a very good friend from back, Blast from the Past, came back, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna hang out. So I've been playing with them, playing other games with them, and it's like, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still on comms. I'm still watching. I'm still here for if people need me. But the directors have got this. It's like, you know what? I'm not the freaking captain of the ship anymore. The community is the captain of the ship. I'm just a figurehead, and that's all it that's what it should be. A cult of personality will not survive the test of time. So you've got to have a team, and it has to be team concept for it to work. And for me to be able to step back and say, you know what? I'm just going to go out here and mine today. I'm going to provide boot. I'm going to sit mountain in a belt, and I'm going to boost people. I'm not even going to mine myself. I'm just going to boost. And the only thing that went wrong was my ore hole filled up a couple times, and I forgot to empty it. The organization functions fantastically
Travesty.
without me, and I cannot be prouder of that fact. It is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and so for how can people find how to join you guys? I mean, in game or now, how do they become a part of KFU?
Go to KFU-Eve, or I'm sorry, give me 1 second here. Let me double check because I always pronounce this wrong.
Got him.
Got him. There he is.
Yeah,
He's been flawless the whole episode.
Lack of preparation. I had no preparation. I didn't even have this up. KFU-Eve.com.
Awesome.
KFU-Eve.com. There's a Join Us tab. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Links to the Discord, links to our stuff in game, shows you how to do everything step by step. Falmic, one of my XO, my administrator, set this website up on his own, and I absolutely love him to pieces for doing so. He's one of the ones that makes my life absolutely smooth as glass. I love having him around. He's fantastic. Find your freaking Commander Riker. Find your freaking Commander Spock. Find whoever it is that whatever rationale you need. Find a deputy, someone you can trust, that, God forbid, you get hit by a freaking car. You don't want to be sitting from the grave watching everything you've built in your gaming experience burn because you're not there to be the cult leader. Find somebody. Trust them. But if you're looking for us, freaking KFU-Eve.com will shoot you all the information you need to know.
Awesome. That's fantastic. You're more than welcome to stay with us. We're going to go through a couple battle reports, and I'll give a little update on what State Farrell and Social Infrastructure My Corp has been doing. I think Rots is going to give a little update on what those guys have been doing. If you want to stay on with us, you're more than welcome.
Well, if you would have me, I'm fine.
Perfect.
I'm having a good time. You guys are awesome.
Really appreciate you being on here.
Thank you for coming on, yeah. 100%.
Well, and thank Rots for coming on. Kind of a last second deal, like, oh man, am I gonna have to do this by myself? And then at the final half hour before the deal, he came on and jumped in the hot seat with me. It's been great.
No worries. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, I want to play. I guess so. Before we get into battle reports, I guess I'll talk about this whole podcast, so to speak. You know, it's been pretty awesome to see how, I figured my first episode, I'm not gonna lie, I know I've said it before, but if I had 150 views, I was like, okay, we're doing it, this is worth it. And yeah, it exploded, and I think we got close to 3,000 now in the first episode and all that. So kind of do my shameless little plug here, trying to get to 50 followers so that can try to do the affiliated thing. It's been great today, to get, there's like 4 different steps you got to do to become affiliated and whatnot, and hopefully make a little change. And then today, I did some streaming, which was super fun. It was with the gang out in Tama, and we were just kind of fighting, in super cheap frigates. Everything that was coming at us, we were just going, and the wife pops in like, "Are you streaming?" I'm like, "Oh no!" So I just popped it up, and had some people watching. And one of the guys that was watching the stream found out about us and actually joined the Corp today, just from that little deal. So that's been awesome.
That whole Tama gate, man, that is some content right there. We have a member who just does not leave Tama. That's his thing. And you could live your whole entire Eve life in Tama, I would say, and be very happy doing it. Whole communities centered on Tama.
Yeah, the only time I ever lived in Tama, it was in Caldari Faction Warfare, and there was an alliance called Meat Shield, and their thing is they just had stockpiles of cheap free frigates and destroyers, and their goal to win the war was just, you went in, everyone got wiped, you shipped up and just did it again. And Tama was a hell of a place to do it. I mean, we had to go through 1,000 ships a day at certain times. It was awesome.
Let's be real, the only enemy in EVE Online is that Norvuk hiking gate, okay?
Yeah.
It's the only enemy.
Today it actually was really easy to go to Tama, reship, and come in. No one was really camping the gate. It's like 55 people in local all day long. There's people flying Gnosises that were going entirely faster than I thought a Gnosis could go. Ended up getting me killed because I was like, oh shit, we're 20 from this Gnosis. We can catch him, and we could not.
You're like, why are my mining lasers not shooting?
Yeah, how can I not catch this Gnosis? He's going like 25k. This doesn't make sense. Aren't these supposed to be slow? Alright, so since we got our man Rots here that knows far more about the state of war and Eve than I do, we're gonna bring up a Kilmar here. Oh shoot!
Okay, crash course.
I'm gonna show you a battle report, and you'll tell me what the guy had for lunch.
Got it. On it.
All right, here we go, and go.
What do we got here? Okay.
This is over in what are we looking at here? No value.
Well, this is a lot of no value. Okay, so they're in 6ZJ, SC, and Venal. Happened around 1800. These guys I don't personally fight. What I realized, though, now looking at this, there's actually some out of the blue on here. This is very cool. This is what I'm talking about. They surprise me every day. So this is well within the EU and the Russian time zone. Looks like, and actually I have a little bit of backstory now. I'm looking further. So Boss Alliance were friendly with Dark Side, we know. The My Little Pony Industries that have joined My Alliance recently are run by a guy. He goes by NY. We know him as Nink. He would kill me for saying that. He's a phenomenal FC. It looks like a lot of these groups, Dark Side bosses in here, Nem who runs them, they're a fantastic community. Mostly out of Venal. It looks like this tower has turned into a content beacon. I venture to say No Value, who's pretty involved with Winter Coalition, probably shooting this tower. And those legions took one to the knee for sure. Wouldn't say it's a blob, but it's definitely about, it's a blob. It was a good, hey, they're shooting my tower, let's drop on them. Looks like they got some good content out of that.
Yeah, definitely some missed cost on that one.
It looks like Boss had sacks, which are historically, I'm always a person who loves I think everyone likes the idea of a sack fleet on paper up until about the part where they don't really project a lot of DPS, but they're a really good tank. That E-War capability on them is great. And then you got Dark Side, who that's a tough group to fight anyway. I've always had issues, and they're also in Legions. And then My Little Pony and the guys from Out of the Blue look to be working with Dark Side. They used to be there. Drop some Balgorns in and whatnot. I think those Balgorns probably did some tough work with webs and everything for sure.
You think with the heavy missiles, you think it's just an application problem, or they're just not actually doing enough DPS?
You see, now, there was someone in the stream who actually said, missiles are in. With some of the changes they've done, you put 4 target painters on something, which is pretty easy to achieve. You don't need a bonus ship to do it. You're applying just fine. You're doing great. What I think is notable here is there's some Scorpions, and there's clearly some jams going on. I bet the Sacks had some jams or tracking disruptors, some kind of E-War application, not even including the fact that we've got numbers here that are, they're throwing DPS down their throats pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah, moving right along. See, look at that. Look at all that information you did there. So this one's got Brave collected, first test, Banderlogs, Pandemic. This is up in Pure Blind. This is up in your old guy's old stomping ground.
Yeah, this is, okay. I saw this one too. Looks like Brave, and I'm venturing to say that this is a Brave fort. They were probably trying to anchor or drop it.
Yeah.
I can't say anything to that. You would have seen some big timers over a Brave fort other than this one. I'm tempted to see if there's other battle reports, but what we can see from this one is there's some caps dropped. Actually, now that I'm thinking about that, they probably wouldn't have dropped all this on a fort that wasn't already operable that they could tether to and sit. Man, they took one there. It's seeing Brave move over to Pure Blind, I'll be the first to say that was great. It was good to have. Braves stretching out and doing their thing is huge.
They almost lost an entire
Clearly,
Munin fleet here from
test
too.
pandemic order. Yeah, I mean, Brave has been doing mighty fine. They've got some serves, they got the Munins, but all those caps from the test pandemic horde side. I mean, they clearly came there. They were looking for caps. Yeah, that looks like a meat grinder. Also, Banderlogs getting involved is definitely, I think, Brave, to some extent, is encroaching on Banderlog's world. It's interesting to see Banderlogs working with PL and or Pandemic Horde and Test Alliance, but beggars can't be choosers. Looks like they got some cap kills off of Brave. Nothing new from the Brave side, sadly. Everyone's ganging up on them.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks, kind of crazy to see that that quick turnaround. After being in that coalition for so long with those guys, and then Brave wanting to go do their own thing, and then look at turning right around and Test and Pandemic Horde have no problem shooting them now.
Yeah, a lot of these groups. I mean, this is an overarching thing. What I thought after the big war. Goons 1, I thought and hoped a lot of these blocks would kind of shake up. I know there's been, a pretty good reset on that end, so everything's kind of game. Doesn't look like there's a nip maybe involved for the most part. Knowing that Brave has gone to Pureblind, they're stretching out and looking to do the independent thing. There's one thing you can say from this battle report, and a lot of people are just like, oh, Brave lost some caps. To me, that's nothing new. But what you do see is a Brave that, 2 months ago, when I was deployed in the FDZ, I was fighting 40-man fleets. Now you see 189 Brave. People are logging in their alts. They're clearly got some content, clearly leadership, and some changes they've made. They're providing something to the membership in Brave that they wanted. They're not just going out and doing this big block level, go shoot goons, go do whatever Pappy says kind of deal. In my opinion, this is a huge step to see this over, maybe something else they were doing in a gem, and it's a nice reverb, nice bounce back for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that members of Brave and stuff that they want to go out there and not be given an area, but to take it themselves, and obviously, like I said, proof's in the pudding.
I mean, my alliance. I mean, during the big war, we got bored. I mean, we were part of Volta and Volta US time zone. I mean, that I wouldn't say it's a joke, but Volta US time zone. Volta's an EU alliance, and we said, hey, we're kind of bored. We keep hitting the frat wall. We want to go do something else, but we didn't want to rope Volta in with our crazy, batshit ideas. So we went and attacked Fountain. I've never had more interest and activity in just a group of people who had done that in a hot minute. They were just like, fuck it, let's go do it. Even with Osisov, it was something. So it's, again, props to Brave. I mean, it sucks, and I hate to see you losing some stuff, but man, you guys are doing it. It took, 3 groups that are all neutral to each other to blow up and go do this, right?
Yeah.
So.
Sucks to lose a fight, but at least you showed up to the damn fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job.
Exactly.
Good job.
They put it out on the line. They gave it to go.
As a guy who, currently in my alliance, I have some people who were high up and Brave and did a lot for that community. Props to you. It's good to see you guys still around.
Yeah, and I hope this doesn't take the wind out of their sail.
They still exist. So what do you got next? Put me in, coach.
All right, we've got Darkside once again. No value, Northern Coalition Frat. Looks like, got some out of the blue guys on this one.
Same tower. Look at this. It's that same tower from the first one.
Sure is.
Same lead. Yeah, I'm...
Quickly give a little shout out to Isla. She's the one that gave us these battle reports to look at again.
He's, I mean, if you're not watching your battle reports, I mean, someone in here, during the stream is like, do you think the kill board is good for the game? Honestly, I like to see this stuff. I learn a lot from it. That's why I get... You were right. I get hyped about these. Anyway, so
well, these are the stories. This is the stuff that gives us something to talk about. Especially a guy like yourself, you can look at these and kind of have an idea what's going on.
I have a little fun with it. Yeah, same group. Here we are. My Little Pony. They're part of my alliance now. They just joined within the last week and a half.
Oh, I think this is the same. This is the same battle report with a different format. Right when I was hyping Eilish up, he does this to me.
I was gonna say, it's
Oh.
either the same battle report or it's a different.
It's like,
different time on.
it didn't go well the first time, but they brought the same comp versus the same numbers. They're gonna do it again.
We'll blame Eilish on this one.
Yeah, he's not
Eilish
around. All right, here we go. Esoteria, Evictus, out of the blue. Oh, here you go. Here's you guys.
What do we got?
It looked like you did all right on this one.
This one happened today. I was actually offline for this one. There's that thing, you don't need to be online as a community leader to see your guys doing stuff. Okay, so this was over an Astra. We have been trying to on contract. Out of the blue is, and we've been firmly doing that Merc thing, trying to assist AOM and IOU. And in this one, they have a staging Astra. I wouldn't call it a staging Astra as much as these groups that are out of Stain, Ferrata, Fast Kick, all of them. They have a good FC over there, Greg 2010 or Greg whatever his name is. I remember him from Wicked Creek back in the day. We chatted up in local recently. They're just doing their thing, attacking that top pocket in ESO, which is very, in my opinion, it could have been a part of Stain. So it's AOM and them are actually a little bit further away than, say, these Stain Russians and all of that, with respect to getting into the pocket. But yeah, we reffed the Astra the other night. I actually reffed this one, and they followed up on it today. So Tengu's on Munin. It's good to see them actually forming. They usually bring NATOs, crap ton of NATOs, the Russians, and they bring Typhoons. So they undocked the Munins today, which these Tengus are really kind of meant to counter the Munins, and it looks like they got some cap kills out of it and had some fun doing it. Again, it's a little bit of a blob. There's 101 versus 62. But overall, I think the Russians did very good, all things considered. And my understanding is they pushed my guys have pushed that Astra into its hull timer.
Nice. So maybe get to see something else. So how are those how are those Tengus fit up to counter the Munins? What's kind of going on there?
It's so it's I wouldn't say maybe the Tengu. My wording is the Tengus are, they're meant to counter Munins. I think right now you could get into any T3 with an afterburner and be moderately effective under certain situations. And, some blocks would say, hey, you wouldn't dare do an AB T3 right now in the large fights, and you wouldn't. In my opinion, you wouldn't. You'd be using hacks. But if you're doing engagements like this is medium, maybe slightly medium-large scale, it's an easy comp to Sig Tank A, and B, you have jammers on those Tengus. So every one of those Tengus has a jam. They overheat the jam, and you're jamming Logi or you're jamming Munins. Most people with their Munin fleets are bringing Simis, so it's all red jammers. So you're just going down the list, find the closest name, and jam it out. And again, heavy missiles are applying fine. So if you get that critical mass, you're doing a thing. I think it takes about 50 to 60 somewhere in there, with good links going on Tengus for Munins to Alpha U. So it's a huge number. When you're looking at some battleships right now, Munins apply way better. And so for a small group like us, Tengus have been working. But I see IOU is in this fleet, which is a good one to see. And yeah, that's 90% of the Tengu lost mails you see will be something not a Munin fleet, or the Munin fleet was bigger. But anytime you really see these big Munin fights, and they're maybe 100 on whatever, if you got Tengus, you're probably doing pretty good. It lets a smaller group fight with those jams.
Yeah. Well, shoot, there you go, Broodin. You could just get those guys once they got the Caracal down, just get them right into that Tengu, and you'll be set. Oh, that's cool. That's an expensive comp with a lot of skill points involved to be sitting in that. That's cool.
The SP, those are very skill point intensive ships, and they are very. Yeah. It requires a very solid amount of pilot experience to fly them. So
I
mad
think,
props to those who are flying those fleets, but I think KFU is going to stick to something a little bit cheaper.
good call. Yeah, kind of, yeah.
You can fly what, probably almost 10, 15 caracals for that price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
we could throw caracals into a wood chipper for what a Tengu fleet would cost. So
yeah, no kidding.
I think we'll stick with the caracals for the time being. Thank you, though. I appreciate the thought and concern.
Well, that's pretty much all we got on that front. Let's see if I can get this whole internet thing off here.
Cole says, caracals slide right into drakes if you want a bigger dick. It's like, yeah, I could go with drake. There's not enough drakes in the entire Eve.
Yeah, I think we got a ham drake fit that hopefully at some point we'll have to throw around a little bit. We'll see how that one goes. I know it'll be me throwing those ones into the wood chipper, but I'm willing to do it.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah. It's just we'll fit ABs on there and we'll fly it just like a Tengu. What could go wrong?
Doesn't matter. You're in a drake. Life's good. You're in a drake.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all we got with that. Kind of wrapping down. Kind of go over a little bit of recap with the Alliance. So we were over in, oh man, Amar Losek. I can't even. Kaladin, something like that. I think it's Kaladin. Anywhere, somewhere over in there. We were having a lot of fun. We kind of had a quiet area. It was that constellation right next to the asset safety for Delve and that stuff. Ermelin, I believe, was the system for that. So, kind of had a decent market there. Really don't have to worry too much with our shipping network. We got big enough assets to get stuff in and out. But the kind of PvP we were getting there was, we'd just get dropped on all the time. We'd have guys out belt ratting. What was there? Darwinism would like to bring in a Proteus. Like basically just perma scram and point you, nuke out, hellacious reps, the typical T1 cruiser or battle cruiser couldn't really do much against. Throw up a covert op Sino, bring in a Panther, and just blap you. Which is like, okay. So we're going to need a few more guys for this. So finally got enough people online, and as we're growing, we just don't have, can't throw the numbers at it. So I'm like, okay, finally. So, we know their game. They're going to do it on an undock, perfect. I'm going to go out, bait them. Going to have just a tanky stabber with the scram. We'll wait for him to jump that Panther in. We'll undock with our guys. Had a guy in a Drake. Had a couple Ospreys. Perfect. We can handle a Panther, no problem. This will be a great kill now. So start rolling with the plan. Everything goes planned. Yep. Sure enough, there's the Proteus. There's the Sino. Sino's up. It's like, and they dropped 12 Black Ops battleships on us for our 6-man T1 fleet. So about 2 hours later, our shit was mainly packed up and we were on our way out of the area because there was only one way this was going to go. Just not conducive place for a smaller alliance like us to grow. So yeah, so we ended up moving on over to Placid. Kind of found a little, a nice little kind of dead-end system in a low sec. I think our high sec's 14 jumps from Jeddah, which makes logistics super easy, and recruitment has been super great this week. And yeah, it's just been so much. Been handed over to Tama, finally getting the kind of PvP flights, that these new guys can sink their teeth into and, actually walk away from with potentially getting a win. It's just nothing we can do versus, Redeemers and Panthers and all that dropping on us. So it's been a great move. Recruitment's been super good. Did a stream today. Picked up a guy that was watching the stream, and yeah, it's been super awesome. I'm excited for our new area. I think it's going to be good. Lost a couple wormhole corporations on the Alliance. Kind of decided to go their own way. They joined some other wormhole groups and whatnot. I think we're focusing a little more right now for corporation recruitment, kind of based more on PvP corporations. We're doing pretty good, on our PvE and mining stuff. It's kind of the direction we're going in, and it's been really good. It was a good change. Pain in the ass always to move, but we got it done super quick, actually, for a bunch of new guys. And everyone made the move. We didn't lose any players. So, yeah. How about you guys, Rots?
We're all over the place. There's a lot going on. Just we're in a transitional period. It's one of those periods in Eve. You're like, hey, there's a lot of information coming in. You're trying to make sure you take care of all the parties involved. We're in a period of growth. We're in a period of transition. We're in a period of taking care of everyone. We just had the alliances of Vindictive and the old guys without a sight, and the Russians that were involved there. They have history and dark side and out of sight specifically, who all just merged in, wanting to do what we do. We're still very anti-block, anti-coalition. We got good new bro presence, and we're open to them and accessible. It's a different Eve experience, we hope, for people who want to get involved in the 0-0. And we're taking on contracts right now. We're getting paid a pretty penny. We picked up another contract under RA while we're out here. So Red Alliance is now paying us. We're getting paid by AOM and IOU, which has been nice. People are getting programs that, for an independent alliance like us, you don't normally get those things. So we've been very fortunate to have that and be able to provide for our members in that fashion. Again, supporting people, making sure they have what they need to do what they want to do in the game. The golden rule is, if you can't log in and have fun after a tough day real life, or even just, hey, I want to play the game, what do you want for, right? But we're moving out of Pure Blind, so we're finalizing all of that, and we're going to be, hopefully in the coming weeks here, posting some big news for us. And at this point in time, we're just raking it in and getting ready for winter. Winter is coming for us.
Yes, it is.
Always providing the content. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell. I'd say the biggest thing looking out for our group is just communication, taking care of people, making sure we got all the heads in the game and everyone feels like they're supported, taken care of. That's a huge part of it. So that's probably where we're at right now for the next month, taking care of the people and then moving into the next content ventures.
Awesome. Well, shoot, we can't wait to get an update when you guys have more info to pass our way. Once again, want to thank Rots for coming on and filling in for Eilish. Broodin, thanks for having us. Been a great episode. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have this podcast will actually be a podcast when they get it on streaming platforms, and the social infrastructure as well is recruiting new invention pilots alike. Look us up in game or on our Discord. Well, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Hey, thank you for your time, Broodin. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Really was.
All hail Pancake Cat.
All right, see you guys. Thanks everyone
Have a
for
good night.
watching.
Bye, guys.